Rick.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Lisenby Immigration Law. This is Brian Lisenby, and we're going to be talking about the H-1B. So basically, what is an H-1B? Simply, it is a non-immigrant work status that allows a U.S. employer to hire foreign workers for specialty jobs, which by regulation basically means it's a job that requires a bachelor's degree or its equivalent. Now, H-1B status is highly desirable for many people working in the United States or for those who desire to work in the United States. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and we're going to discuss those here in a bit. But just know a lot of people are trying to get the H-1B, which can be really tricky sometimes, depending on the number of people filing and the availability of the visa. Now, why should you be thinking about the H-1B? Why should you be thinking about applying for the H-1B, for hiring an attorney, or why should you be thinking about employing H-1B workers? The big reason to think about hiring and filing for an H-1B would be the H-1B provides a lot of flexibility the other visa types don't. H-1B visa holders have what's called dual intent, meaning they have both non-immigrant and immigrant intent, which allows a temporary worker to pursue a lawful permanent resident status, a green card, while they are working temporarily in the United States without consequence. That is a really huge benefit for many people, and a lot of visa types don't possess that same benefit. We're talking about H-1B holders for the most part, L1 holders, and O's, which is pretty limited. So otherwise, if you're not in one of those statuses, you're going to be really looking for a way to transition if your plan is to remain in the United States long term to H-1B, so that you can have some security while you're pursuing a green card. Another reason would be for those of you who are subject to an immigrant visa backlog, and you all know who we're talking about. Most of the time, that's going to be folks from China or folks from India who are in for a long wait as they wait for the green card to become available for them. It's going to provide an option for you to remain working in the United States on a long-term basis while you wait for that green card to become available. And lastly, it can just provide a lot of peace of mind for those of you who travel outside the United States while your green card is pending. Do you qualify for an H-1B? A lot of people do. And it comes down to, if you possess a bachelor's degree or its equivalent, then you likely qualify for an H-1B. Your job duties for the position that you're working in or the proposed job that you'll be working in also need to require somebody to have a bachelor's degree or its equivalent to perform those duties. But if you satisfy those two things, you have a degree and it's equivalent to a US bachelor's, or you have the equivalent experience, which is basically 12 years of experience in the field, or if you have an associate's degree and 6 years of progressive experience in the field, then you're likely going to satisfy the regulatory requirements for the H-1B visa. And you can apply. To have your case evaluated more fully, you should really reach out to an attorney and get some advice in that regard. But if you satisfy those requirements, there's a good chance you can qualify for an H-1B in the United States. So when do you apply for an H-1B? Good news, it's H-1B season, everyone. And USCIS on their website has a page called H-1B cap season. So every year, employers and immigration attorneys across the United States prepare for this season called the H-1B cap lottery. Basically, to file, an employer is going to use their USCIS account to register potential H-1B candidates into the H-1B lottery. Last year, that took place between March 1st and March 18th. For this year, for 2023, USCIS has not yet announced when the registration period will occur. I would assume it's probably going to be at a similar time. It's probably going to be between March 1st and March 18th, or somewhere in that ballpark, in that range. Once the registration period closes, no one else can be registered in the H-1B visa lottery for the fiscal year 2024, which is held in 2023. After it closes, USCIS holds a lottery, and the way they do their lottery system is they first take all the applicants who submitted, everybody, and they hold a lottery for 65,000 visas. And they select the applicants that they're willing to let file H-1B petitions for those visas, and then they notify those individuals through their employer's USCIS account. After that initial lottery, another lottery is held for an additional 20,000 visas for individuals possessing a United States master's degree, and it has to be a United States master's degree or higher. They don't allow foreign master's degrees or for that specific lottery. Now, once everyone is notified, they give the people that were selected in the lottery 90 days to file their H-1B cases. And depending on when you were notified, there'll be a period of time for you to submit that petition. Usually it's April 1st to the end of June or something like that. Once your H-1B petition is filed, you have to wait for it to be approved before you can start working in H-1B. And that H-1B start date is always October 1st. So all these people who are filing in the CAP in this lottery, who are selected and have their chance to start an H-1B, the first day they can begin working in H-1B status is October 1st. And so basically what that means in practice is you file, you get your H-1B approval, you continue working and living in the United States in some other status, or you wait in your country of residence until October 1st, and then you enter the United States and you can begin working for your your United States based employer. And you actually can enter the United States 10 days before October 1st if you filed from outside the United States for the H-1B benefit and you were approved for that benefit. Now, the odds of being selected after you register in the H-1B aren't necessarily the best. So last year, there were around 500,000 applicants in the H-1B CAP lottery. Of those 500,000, around 130,000 petitions were selected to allow people to file an H-1B CAP case. So that equates to around a 27-ish% chance of being selected. So why should you apply? If you're entering a lottery, if your chances aren't that great, if you have a third of a chance of getting selected and being approved for this benefit, why should you apply? And really the answer is pretty simple. It's a straightforward process for employers and employees to file. The registration cost is really cheap. USCIS charges $10. If you're using an attorney to register people for the H-1B CAP, there's also probably going to be an associated legal fee. Attorneys all do their fees differently, so it really depends on what your counsel is doing, how much that's going to cost. But it's relatively cheap compared to other immigrant visa, other processes that you will be paying counsel for. And the benefit of registering someone and getting them into H-1B is so significant that why not? It's typically worth applying. It's typically worth the registration fees. It's worth getting people in there. For a lot of people, they'll be in F1 status working on OPT. And so they'll really have a couple of chances usually to file for H-1B. So they file this year, they'll be able to file in 2024 if they don't get accepted this year, and possibly in 2025 if they don't get accepted in 2023 or 2025. So there's good chances that eventually your foreign employees can get on the H-1B if they're working as an F1 student or if they're working as an O1 or TN or in some other status. So it's really worth it when you consider the cost of not filing and not providing the flexibility that's associated with the H-1B when you're pursuing a permanent visa solution. And now I know for a lot of US-based employers, there's a lot of costs that go into finding talent and recruiting talent and hiring talent and training talent. And you don't want to lose these precious employees that you've invested time, energy, and your resources into, and who frankly are extremely qualified and exceptional individuals. So my advice is consider the H-1B. Think about the H-1B. If you need help determining if that's the best solution for yourself or for the employees that are working for you, my advice would be consult immigration counsel and get some advice so that you can determine the best path to hiring these individuals on a full-time basis. And if it works out and they want to and you want to, employing them permanently down the road with a green card. Um, thank you. I know it's the beginning of a new year. A lot's going on for everyone. It's a great time to consider all of your immigrant visa options, all of your non-immigrant visa options. Make the H-1B a top priority. Thanks.